So the calculator has an app that does all of this financial stuff, and it's something that's a little different than what I'm used to using. So I played around with it to make sure that I understand how it works. So it tells you right here exactly how to get to it. All right. So I'm going to bring it up down there, and then I'm going to talk about what the different things are with that on the screen. So you hit the apps button, which is right to the right of the math button. The first thing is finance, and the first thing is TDM solver. So then in here, what you do is you enter in the information that you have, and there's always going to be one thing that's missing. And then when you want to solve for one of the things, you go to that specific spot and you hit alpha enter for solve. Okay. So n is the number of times you get in, sorry, the number of years, just like n is in the formula. Percent, that's the interest rate, same as in the formula. PV, that is the amount you start with, the present value. And the one thing you're going to have to remember here is you want your present value to be negative, because basically what you're doing is you're giving that money to the bank. So you're giving that money away. And then the future value is the amount that you have at the end, just like it is. That will come back to be positive, because basically with this problem I've got right here, I'd be putting $2,000 in the bank. And then at the end, I'd be getting $2,500 back. That's why it's a positive number. If you put the present value in as a positive, it's going to give you the future value as a negative. They'll always have the opposite signs. So if you make the present value negative, the future value will be positive. Basically, with these, the signs are not really super important when you're doing things like that. But if you're giving the money into the account, if you're putting the money in the account or you're paying the money, it's a negative because you're losing that money at that time. PY is periods per year. CY is compounding per year. For pretty much all the problems that you're going to do, just leave the periods per year at 1, and the compounding per year you're going to change to your K value. So the CY is basically your K value. For all of the problems in the beginning, we're going to leave the payment at 0. The notes might say that we always leave the payment at 0. That was before I was really thinking about the fact that we're going to do some retirement account stuff where you are going to be making a payment into those accounts. So we'll talk about that when we get there. That's not to the level 3 problem. So for right now, the payment's going to stay 0. PY, we're going to leave as 1 unless there's some weird situation where, it's talking about some sort of monthly thing, then compound 6 times a month, then we'd have to talk that there's 12 PY. But I haven't seen a problem like that. So PY is going to be 1. CY is going to be where you put your compounding. The payment thing, we'll talk about at the bottom and beginning. We'll leave it at end for right now. The only time you're ever going to do that is if you're talking about paying money into an account and it says the word beginning in it, which is going to be very, very a unique situation that's not going to happen very often.